Saturday Funday, Lite News, Meme Reviews, Red Pillars, Drama Farmers, Project 2025, what is that? And more. Playing Rust later with exclusive drops you've never seen. Get in now. Project 42069, got him. Dude, that's so good. Type pussy in bio. I will not be typing pussy in bio. Istanbul Street Food from Mark Wayne's? No. Is Buddha going to play on the server? Yes. Buddha is on the server. When entitled Karens think they're above the law. Nice. I can't wait to watch this shit. Yesterday you promised the Gamer Frogs that you're going to play Super Seducer. You're right. Except for the fact that my best friend has had a massive like Rust project that he's launched that he's been working on for quite some time now, that obviously I will be there to support and play that instead of fucking Super Seducer, which I can play whenever the fuck I want, okay? Like, I'm sorry to the chatters that want me to play Super Seducer and you know, go on a Sekatsu run, but I'm probably not going to do that today, okay? For obvious reasons. But a promise is a promise. Yeah, I said I'm going to play it. I didn't say I'm going to fucking play it tomorrow. Suck my dick. Promise is a promise, my ass. This is very important and provides evidence for your case. Please watch. Bro, that's just Kaya. That's just Kaya. I will play Batman Season 2, yes. What is this? Child Porn 3 is the nickname for Chris Paul, a highly regarded professional basketball player in NBA. I know. This is insane. It is an insane thing that they got going on there. NBA memes don't fuck around. They do violations regularly. It's like illegal shit, basically. That's libelous. Yeah, what are they gonna do? Go after fucking anonymous Reddit accounts? When people just like choose to do that, that's all they do. Google AI is great. Dude, let me tell you, okay? We are so fucking cooked. AI is so busted. It is ruining the things that already sucked ass. It's ruining the things that already sucked ass even further. It's just like, first AI ruined Google search by polluting the search with like AI-made websites that real human beings can't deal with, obviously. And then because that doesn't really matter for Google because they're just like double booking and generating ad revenue off of those websites as well because they're serving ad revenue on those websites, they chose not to fucking deal with these like AI made websites. And now they're further ruining it by putting AI into the search. When you go on Meta, when you go on Instagram and you want to fucking look through your goddamn DMs, it's like, oh, ask whatever Meta's what is Meta's AI? Ask Meta anything. It's like, no, bitch, I don't want to ask Meta AI anything. I want to just see the search. I want to see a normal search. What do you mean I have to ask the fucking Meta AI something? No, how about I don't want to do that? Okay, I don't want to ask the AI anything. I'm searching. I'm searching for the thing I'm searching for. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want this to be AI. Even if it is AI, just fucking lie to me, okay? Unk take? No, man, that's not an unk take. You guys are dumb as fuck. You are literally so incredibly scared of being old that you have to fucking call that an unk take? Really? The AI ruins every aspect of the internet is an unk take? Okay, dude. I didn't realize being correct early was an unk take. Yeah, dude, like my Israel-Palestine opinion is an unk take. You literally come in here for the correct takes. You want to get ahead of the game. You want to be right early, right? Maybe you're scared AI will replace you. No, because I'm a fucking, technically in that circumstance, I would be a business owner, okay? So if anything, I make AI work for me, okay? That's how it works. I think you're misunderstanding the dynamic here. I do this because I enjoy it. I love it. For all its faults and failures and annoying little nuanced moments. Show chat the ass meta thing. Yeah, this is my search now on Instagram. It's very weird. I don't want that. Have you seen this insane thread? Cops watch too much JCS. What is this? An extraordinary case of police psychological torture in Fontana, where Thomas Perez reported his elderly father missing. Cops brought him into a 17-hour interrogation and coerced him to falsely confess to killing his dad. His dad was alive. Oh, is this the one where they said that they're going to execute his dog? Dude, can we get some more ball talk? Luka and Kyrie went off again last night. Yeah, I know. They're going nutty mode with it. Something Batman would do. You're not wrong. Batman would 100% do that. Undeniably. Thoughts on this European violence? Bro, this shit was so crazy. This shit was so crazy because I even saw the tweet earlier this morning where they were like, bro, dudes looking like those fucking like anti-segregation activists of the South from some of these photos that they posted.
Rudy Gobert in an
yeah, like this right here, bro. It's just not a good look, okay? Yeah, it's just not a good look, man. Luka for the win. Mavs up 2-0. Luka looked like Luka just looked like them folks, them civil rights pigs. Lamau, delete this, please. He looks like he is. He looks like he's saying like, no, black girls are not black girls are not allowed in this school. You don't belong here.
Possible situation, point lead here, but that's just Rudy Gobert in an impossible situation. Point lead here, but that's just Rudy Gobert in.
Luka is Balkan. It's different. Yeah, I don't think you understand. That's not like that makes it kind of worse. Rudy's like, not Rudy, sorry. Luka's like, my bad. I thought he was Muslim. My bad, bro. My bad, bro. I thought he was Muslim. I didn't realize he was just a French black man. No, I mean, I think he just says like, motherfucker, you can't fucking guard me. That's what he says here. Like that's
here, but that's just
which is true.
Rudy Gobert in an impossible situation.
Actually, I don't know if he says that. That's not what his mouth is moving around as. But like, obviously, when you see something like this, your first indication is like, you try to read it for like certain words. You know what I mean? You try to read it for certain words, and it doesn't. He's not at least saying like any of the no words. You could tell mouth movement wise. I don't think he claimed to be speaking Slovenian. Yeah, I saw him talk about that after the fact. On the press conference, the dude who was asking him the question seemed mad too. It was pretty funny. Does anyone have it? Yeah, by the way, Luka is a Twitch watcher. He's a Moxie head. So I'm gonna be honest with you, we can't shit on him that much, okay? So it's something to consider. Yo, that shit's funny as hell. Rudy Gobert was on the Scuff podcast. Well, I know who I'm siding with in this equation then, you know? Us white guys, we got to stick together. Am I right, folks? Especially against the French. Oh, God. He's a Balkan boy. Rudy just needs to give him COVID. Okay, he did that one time, dude. God damn. You give everybody in the NBA COVID one fucking time and cause the bubble to happen, and everybody keeps bringing that up for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? God damn. He just did that one time when he was like licking his hand and licking microphones. It was crazy. This aspect of the interview is really funny because the guy who asked him the question is so bad.
So he can't effing guard you, huh?
Sorry?
He can't effing guard you?
Who said that?
You said that.
Like, that's, bro, the guy came at him so aggressive, like, am I crazy? Like, the guy came at him like the guy came at him like Luka fucked up his bag. You know what I mean? He why are you so pressed, bro? Why would you say it like that?
So he can't effing guard you, huh?
Sorry?
He can't effing guard you?
You can't effing guard you, huh? I look, all I'm saying is he didn't parlay didn't hit. He was so fucking close, and then Luka fucked it up. Genuinely, what's wrong if he did say that? I get he'd be fine for cursing, but beyond that, what? So what? Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if if the dude asking the question is like actually mad or not, but
Who said that?
You said that.
I didn't say that. I was speaking Slovenian.
Take us through what you're looking for that last play, kind of.
Hey, Indian Assault raid. Hey, Arun, shouts out for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Thank you for the raid. He's naughty as a friendly beef
How
with
it developed
Luka.
and just the emotion after that shot goes through.
I don't decide where I'm going to look before the play and just see what defense gives me.
You see the clip of Gigi taking a shit on the Dersh? Reminds me of the old Glenn. Yeah. Have you covered any of the Caitlin Clark WNBA drama at all? No, I haven't. I haven't really paid close attention to WNBA. I haven't even paid close attention to the NBA. Other than like the funny drama. But as far as I understand, Caitlin Clark is like underperforming, they're saying, in the WNBA. Like she's not dropping 30 every game, I guess. She's only dropping 20. Is that the drama? It's only been a couple games. Hasan orospu evladı, Allahsız orospu çocuğu. Öl orospu çocuğu. Bro, this dude woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. God damn, dude. He said, die, son of a whore. She got drafted to a bad team, to be honest. Well, you can't be that good and then be drafted to a good team, you know? I don't think that's how that works, right? You gotta play at a bad team. She got real competition now, not just smoking teenagers. Yeah, her gameplay needs to elevate. Gameplay in the WNBA is elevated. I mean, whatever. I don't really care. That's crazy. That's a crazy fucking meme, dude. It's Cap. It's not drama. She's a fucking rookie and she hasn't won one yet. But she's on the worst team as the number one pick. Give it time. This your hero? What is this? Bro, he doesn't know any better. The fuck do you mean? Bro is Balkan. He thinks this is just any other American, okay? Bro has no idea what's going on, okay? He's like, oh, another Texas man. Very nice. I will take photo with you. Hello, short Texas man. I will take photo with you. They say you have done many things. Again, chatters politicizing everything. No, this is just a joke. And chatters are chatters are just memeing. Bro, that is a very Slav accent. We Slovenians don't sound like that. Okay, bro. You are Balkan posting too close to the sun. Yeah. When people start parsing through the differences of like Balkan accents, that's when you know shit is That's when you know we've flown too close to the sun. We are moving away from this. We are moving away from the sun, okay? It's hilarious how bad-faced commies are on the internet. My man said commies like it's 1960, bro. What is happening to these centrist YouTubers? What's going on? I swear to God, when you're like a Linux guy and you rely a lot on Reddit, I feel like Reddit just like breaks your fucking brain a little bit, where you inevitably become this like anti-socialist, anti-left centrist guy who just slowly but surely just like deviates away. It's not a good crowd to be with, Muda. I'm gonna tell you right now, you know that personally, okay? The crowd that you're in despises your ass. They hate Muslims. You motherfucking you did the pilgrimage to the Hajj, bro. Okay? You can't hide that shit. They don't like brown dudes and they don't like Muslims at all. Don't fucking lean into these people. He's buddy with some of your biggest haters. I know. I mean, I don't really give a shit overall. It's hilarious how bad faith commies are on the internet, not ever looking into the content I've made, going over the case documentation about Andrew Tate and shedding light on his bad behavior, or looking past the thumbnail for damning evidence I presented in a video. Yeah, I don't know who this fucking guy is. Is it like a bread tube thing? I don't know what's happening. I don't want to know, but I do see a lot of like centrist content creators oftentimes taking positions and maybe don't use that thumbnail. What is it? He hated on you once and that's enough for me. Yeah, he has. He's definitely leaned into he went after DIY HRT. BreadTube's still a thing. Yes. Mudahar was praising that Willie got under his video about you. Yeah, I know. It's the it's just like, what a mess. Just like what happened with Abe Hamadeh, despite getting the Trump endorsement. Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny because, like, how do you lose so many centrists? How do I lose so many centrists? Bro, because so many centrists are like, they think that not taking a position is a virtue. Or at least, like, many are just like, they read the room and they see that there's a lot of fucking right-wing, there's a lot of right-wing audiences out there that are super easy to fucking farm. No one is really like a centrist. That's not like a real thing, except for Lex Fridman, who is a real centrist. I will stand on that. I will stand for Lex Fridman being like the only real centrist. If there is a true center, it's Lex Fridman. Other than that, everyone else is like, they're taking positions, sometimes left-wing positions, sometimes right-wing positions on a lot of issues. But the reality is, left-wing audiences suck dick. And I don't mean that as in like, you guys are gay. Obviously, many of you are. But you also suck dick on top of that. As in, you're fucking annoying. You're shitty. It's lame. You're constantly fucking purity testing in a way where, like, it's probably for like content creators, if they don't have a lot of investment in like and a firm commitment to genuinely building a leftist community, they're just gonna look at that and be like, yeah, y'all suck. I'd much rather fucking farm a bunch of dumb fucks who are gonna be really excited at the prospect of me saying that lace bras are being put on 1 out of 72 fucking articles of clothing on Stellar Blade. Yeah, those guys love that shit. They're so easy to farm. You guys, on the other hand, are consistently fucking being like, I don't know. You used to be my favorite content creator for 45 months, but then one day you said that this community is an Ouroboros of autism, and I decided that is the most ableist thing. Now I'm going to go consume all matter of different ableist content from a bunch of other content creators, but also never really considering that I'm placing you at a higher standard because you're a leftist content creator, and you should have a higher standard for your content. You know what I mean? You're fucking smarmy. You're annoying. Unbearable. A lot of people do that. They're adding in those outfits again, by the way. We won, boys. Freedom of speech won on this fucking glorious day. Also, low key, well, you can't really see right now, but dude, I was real vascular today. Shit was crazy while I was working out. That's unrelated to anything else. But yeah. Leftists overindulge in the sense of righteousness that comes to having the moral high ground to point that as it harms their interests is so annoying. Yes, exactly. Ow. How the fuck? Ow. I just pulled a mustache. Why are you so angry today? What happened? I'm not. You should be held to a higher standard, though. I promise you, there's not a single fucking content creator that you've ever watched that you've held to the same standard that clears the standards that you've held to them. If I'm not clearing some fucking standards that you've had for me, the standards are too high. Okay? The way I conduct myself and my affairs are literally straight up. The way I conduct myself and the way I operate is unironically so in line with my fucking values that my haters have to make shit up instead. Oh, this is awesome. God, I fucking love UFC fighters. UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell says he won't be vaccinating his kid and wants to homeschool him so he doesn't end up gay and communist. And I fucking love that, dude. More of this, please. I mean, this is basically eugenics in the other direction. Like, you literally are just saying, like, I'm going to kill my child. Like, it's fine. It's like, if you're this desperate to not, like, if you're this desperate to populate the earth and then have them die, then who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Modern medicine can only take you so far, okay?
I want to show y'all Tucker James. He's over 12 pounds now. He was born at 7.8 pounds.
Yeah, he won't end up gay and communist because measles will kill this kid before they can walk. Yup.
So he's very healthy. He's doing very good. I wanted to encourage y'all not to vaccinate your children because I think it's bad for their health.
Hell yeah, brother. You're right. Because honestly, anyone that believes that message and goes along with it is probably going to kill their child. Okay? Therefore, you know, it's like at this point, you are desperately... What? Ironically enough, I ran into one of your haters on the internet and he says he doesn't like debating about you because he doesn't know anything about politics, which is wild. He's a hater with no real reason. That's awesome. Yeah. There's a lot of malleable people out there. I feel kind of bad. The CTE is screaming. Dude, let me tell you something. Okay? If you fight against modern medicine to this degree, there, at a certain point, you know, like natural selection has to kick in. Like, we have developed society to a certain degree where we thought, perhaps foolishly, that like we had overcome nature. Okay. And yet man still rears its ugly, animalistic, primal head. Okay? Every part of our existence on this planet is unnatural. Okay? Every part. From skyscrapers to modern medicine. And if you are this desperate to kill your next of kin, okay, there's nothing I can do for you at that point. You might as... This is, in my opinion, functionally a late-term abortion. I feel bad for the baby. But, you know, the baby's already got the fucking 500-yard stare anyway. Look at that thing. Sucking on his thumb like, yeah, I'm going to die soon. This is fucked up.
Kill him, give him some type of... make them autistic. I mean, seriously, these vaccines are poisonous, so...
Bro. I mean this with all sincerity. The autism vaccine would save this child. Perhaps the only thing that could save this child, okay? Give this kid the homosexuality, gay autism vaccine pronto. Save his life. Maybe it's just me, but I think every child should have autism. I agree. My dad was so stupid. He believes the reason I'm autistic is because he vaxxed me and said it's his biggest regret as a parent. That's awesome. That's so funny. I work at a pharmacy and a lot of 18 and early 20-year-olds are coming in for MMR vaccines now. Where did the idea even come from that you can become autistic? Well, one, you're on Twitch. So this is the closest you can actually get to becoming autistic, even if you weren't. But beyond the jokes, it actually comes from a former doctor by the name of Andrew Wakefield. During the time of the MMR vaccines mass release in England, Andrew Wakefield had his own vaccine, a competitive vaccine to the MMR vaccine. So he decided to create faulty data, torture a bunch of children in the process, and come out with a debunked study that showed, I guess, for all the dummies, that vaccines, the MMR vaccines specifically, were causing autism, was making kids autistic. Now, of course, they debunked this in England, where at the time they at least had some level of competence in their medicine. And then they were like, you're no longer a doctor. What the fuck are you doing? So what did Andrew Wakefield do? Well, he did what every snake oil salesman does. He came to the land of the free, home of the brave. And he had a phenomenal career after that. He dated models. He lives in a fucking massive compound. He travels the globe as the foremost authority on vaccines causing autism. He moved to America and made a fucking killing. Okay? That's right. Now he lives his days in Texas in a fucking fat compound, having sex with his model girlfriend / wife, I think, and killing it, as a matter of fact, because we love dupes. We are dupes. We're a nation of dupes, and we love dudes who fucking sell us a lie. We love that shit. Anything that distracts us from the actual crippling, awful, oppressive nature of late-stage capitalism and, you know, beams our interest in the exact opposite unproductive direction, like whether it be flat earth conspiracies, whether it be vaccine conspiracies, whether it all, of course, almost always ties back to Jewish people at the heart of all of those conspiracies, doing like all of this evil stuff for no other reason other than the fact that they are like lizards or whatever. Like anything that keeps us away from recognizing that you know, the systems are designed in a way to churn out these outcomes that are slowly but surely killing us and making life unbearable, you know, is great. I will lean into that garbage all day, every day. Jenny McCarthy also helped propagate the vaccines give autism. She was a massive advocate of it in the late 90s and early 2000s. Jenny McCarthy, I shelved a shit ton of her dumbass books about being victim to her autistic child who got it from vaccines when I worked at Borders in 2009. So many Karens bought them. Oh, hell yeah. The People's Convention, TPUSA, Toilet Paper USA. Oh, my God. Some of the best. Oh, it's awesome. Detroit, June 14th, 16th. Detroit, Michigan, baby. Dropping fucking bombs up in this shit. Truth bombs. The All-Star Brigade. Where's Jordo? I'm surprised Jordo's not invited. Jordo Peterson used to go to these things. Why is he not invited any longer? The Tulsi Gabbard saga will always be funny. Yeah. Lee Zeldin. Matt Gaetz getting so much mileage off that one pick. Yeah, it's just, he still truly looks evil on this. If you fry eggs with miso, curry, and mustard, it tastes like sausage, by the way. Thank you for that information. They found out he's Canadian. They still haven't found out about Nigel Farage being British. Dude, there's no way you can't find out Nigel Farage is British. Look at how ugly he is. Okay? He has the Tory phenotype. And like, it's just, look at him. Look at him. Nigel. My name is Nigel Farage. That's right. I'm here to talk to you about Brexit. You can't be named. I've never met a Nigel that wasn't British, bro. To be fair, I've never met a Nigel in general. Thank God. But like, there is no American named Nigel, I don't think. I know a Mexican Nigel. What happened there, dude? Rick Scott, my former governor, Lamau. Yeah, dude, this is the demon brigade. It is all of the worst demons. What is this? Add another chapter. An officer was called to help a blind deaf dog. He shot him instead. Oh yeah, I saw this. They literally fucking the police investigated this affair and found no wrongdoing, by the way, which is of course the least shocking turn of events. Anyway. But yeah, let's keep going with this.
Don't vaccinate your kids. Tucker's also going to be homeschooled. We're going to have to homeschool our kids, or they're all going to end up turning
yeah, baby. Not vaccinated and homeschooled. I want to make sure this child is broken, okay? I want to make sure that there is no fucking way this kid is all right.
Hey, you know, and that's the reason that I'm going to homeschool Tuckers, because I don't want him to be a communist. I don't want him to worship Satan. I don't want him to be gay. I'm going to have to homeschool him. Now, look, guys, out of the public schools, they've took...
Who the fuck is snoring in the background? At first, I thought it was the noise coming out of that baby. Someone is just passed the fuck out.
The most valuable book of all time, which is the #1 selling book of all time.
Harry Potter. The One Piece manga. I'm teaching this baby the immortal lessons instilled upon all of us by Oda.
Oldest, most accurate historical document that there ever was, the Bible. They took it out of the schools and they replaced it with Edgar Allan Poe, who's shacked up with his cousin. Okay, my son ain't gonna be.
Wait, what? Bro, you can't be looking like this in a wood cabin like this, talking a big game about fucking your cousin, okay? You can't look like you are the byproduct of cousin fuckers while simultaneously being like, I hate cousin fuckers. You understand me? Only I get to fuck my cousin. Yeah. I have the dirty fucking Muslims. I'm an IDF soldier video in the tank, in the chamber.
Be reading no Edgar Allan Poe, okay? He's gonna be reading the Bible.
Yeah, no Edgar Allan Poe for me. No, thank you. Okay. Guess what? I'm not even letting this child learn how to read. Okay. He's not even going to know how to read or write.
That's just how it is. And I'm just telling you, if you don't teach your kid these things.
Yo, he drilled his balls to a plank of wood with a power drill. That's how he was known at first in the MMA scene. Respect. Wait, how was he still able to have a child?
He's going to be fed right to the...
This is a trad male who sits in the driver's seat of his baby mama's car waiting for her to get out of work, and then he slides over to the passenger side when she's walking out. Alpha.
Devil, okay?
Well, to be fair, he's not allowed to drive. So what is he supposed to do? Okay? The goddamn communist nanny state took his driver's license away after he ran over those children. Okay? It's fucked up. Thank God his daddy knew the DA. Okay? So they were able to drop the charges. But they still took his license away. He didn't have to go to jail. But, you know, it's kind of like a jail when you're not allowed to drive. Okay?
So we're not going to let that happen here. And actually, when I was at the hospital, they said since I didn't want to do a PKU, which is where they draw blood from the kid, they poke them with the needle and draw their blood and then test their blood. I didn't want to do that. And I told him, I'm not doing a PKU. None of that's going to happen. You're not sticking this kid with a needle. Then they told me that the DHS was going to come and investigate me had rights to take the kid, all of this. They threatened me with violence from the government, basically. Now, they said, what do you think about that? And I said, well, that's all right. I'll be dead. They said, what? I said, you heard me. I said, I'll be dead. It will be a cold day in hell when somebody comes try to take this baby from me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care if it's DHS, FBI, CIA. I will be dead before anybody lays a finger on this child without my consent. And so that's the kind of passion it's going to take from parents. And if you're not ready to do that, to go to that extent to protect your child, you shouldn't have a child, because I will die for this child. And I'm going to ensure he has the best life that he can.
Like, why is he making this video? Just live your life, dog. I don't understand. Like, what causes someone to be like, I am calling on the authorities. I'm trying to have a standoff. I'm trying to have a standoff with federal agents at my house when they are forced to take action against me. Like, he could have just had all of these opinions and just kept it to himself, and people would just suspect that he's probably doing child abuse, but he didn't have to literally be like, I'm doing child abuse. You understand me? I'm doing child abuse. It's my baby. I can do it if I want to. You can't do nothing about it. It's my child, which is kind of like my property, okay?
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'd rather die. To be fair, though, it's crazy. He says, I'll die and leave this baby fatherless instead of being a good father. I'm going to be honest with you. In that situation, it might be a dramatic improvement on the baby's life. just saying, okay? The way he has detailed what kind of future awaits this child, it seems terrifying, okay, for the child. Bryce Mitchell on a losing streak, but he can wrestle, though. What is this? I need y'all to see this video from a pro-Palestine protest in Arizona. I'm in tears laughing so hard.
Stop the slaughter. Free Palestine.
You're just a white man.
Free Palestine. From the river to the sea. Leave me alone. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt Palestine me. Will be free. Leave me alone. No, don't hurt me. From the river to the sea. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Wait, what's happening? Is he actually like, is he trying to fake that he's like scared because someone said from the river to the sea? Is that what's happening? Why does he cower like a GTA NPC? It's awesome.
This is so fucking hilarious, dude. Don't hit me! Please don't hit me! Please don't hit me! Please walk away! Please! No! Please don't hit me! We have an actor here. Please! Oh God, no!
Get up and walk away right now.
Don't help me! Occupation is a crime! Israel out of Palestine! Free Palestine! Stop the
I can't believe how violent those protesters are being towards this man. How much longer will we allow these fucking violent protesters to be terrifying white people? Oh, man. He was trying to bait him into violence. This guy might not actually be there mentally. I don't know. A man was afraid for his life at the protest. These are terrorists. I know. Did you guys see that? I can't believe I showed you guys an act of terrorism. Oh, here's a little thirst trap I posted on my Instagram story that Fiona kind of ruined, but here it is, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see the gains a little bit, here's and how fucked up my back is for obvious reasons. There it is. There it is. When are you buying one of those Trump diapers? You already fucked up on the shoes. We need new merch. True. Do you use pre-workout? I do not. I just I only drink espresso. Oh, here.
Yes, and you dirty fucking Muslims. They're being anti-Semitic. A young girl. They're anti-Semitic.
You are below it. You're the poor excuse for a human being. How dare you?
And you're not.
How dare you? You're the one who put hands on women. Disgusting.
You don't know what.
Dude, Ed Sheeran's fall off must be studied, bro. Ever since he said he's gonna stop doing music, he's just been crazy with it. He's just been going nutty mode with it. Is that Jamie Oliver, the cook? No, it's Ed Sheeran.
I'm fully trained as an MMA fighter. You don't want to touch me.
I'm an
You don't want
IDF.
to touch me.
I'm an IDF soldier.
I don't give two flying fucks.
I'm an IDF soldier. Well, you don't know the type of fucking CQC Krav Maga I'll use on you like you're a baby. In my mind, you're nothing but a Palestinian baby. If I close my eyes and imagine you as a Palestinian baby, then I'll defeat you. I'm an IDF soldier.
That's what you want to
Ask
do.
him to get him away.
I'm an IDF. I'm an IDF soldier.
For real.
I'm an IDF soldier. I'm trained. I'm trained to fight women and children. All right? And if you're like a child, but also a female child, then it's even better.
IDF soldier.
What happened? What happened to the IDF soldier, though? I thought he was like a trained killer. The moment that like a man comes up, his attitude changes. It's crazy.
And you're not.
How dare you? You're the one who put hands on women. Disgusting.
You don't know what
I'm fully trained as an MMA fighter. You don't want to touch me.
I'm an
You don't want
IDF.
to touch me.
I'm an IDF soldier.
I don't give two flying fucks.
Yeah, he's like, do you know you're my mortal enemy, a woman or a child? I'll fucking kill you. I'm an IDF soldier. It's a perfect counter. It doesn't show, but he ripped off a lady's hijab. Oh, I mean, yeah. This is many such cases, you know? People just like legitimately think that Zionists think that like they can do Israel stuff outside of Israel, and you just kind of can't do that. Unless you're a cop, in which case, you know, if you're trained by the IDF especially, there's like double points for you. But like you can't really do that as a civilian in other places.
That's what you want to
Ask
do.
him to get him away.
I'm an IDF. I'm an IDF soldier.
Shut up.
For real. IDF soldier.
Attitude changes when a man comes up because they're only trained to brutalize men using drone snipers and artillery. They're not trained in close quarters combat with men. Yeah. I'm an IDF soldier. I mean, remember the thing starts off with like dirty fucking Muslims, he says. This man hurled Islamophobic abuse at a group of young Muslim women after he pulled the hijab off one of them. This incident reportedly took place at Whitechapel Station. I'm a fucking IDF soldier. Nice, man. Nice. It's just like how do you feel comfortable behaving like this in public? It just doesn't make any sense. It really, I mean, I guess it's like, it basically shows, oh, he was arrested and he called the police anti-Semites.
Why haven't you arrested them? To have this discussion. Is anybody else in cuffs? Is anybody else in cuffs?
We're looking to have this discussion.
Is there anti-Semites?
We'll speak to you about this in the
You
police
all are
interview.
anti-Semites. Why haven't you
That's awesome. It's just like, you don't get it. I was terrified. I saw Muslims in a hijab, yeah? I was fucking terrified. What? What do you mean? I thought you were cops, right? You're supposed to protect me while I'm doing fucking Islamophobic hate crimes, yeah? In it. The wilder thing is that Whitechapel's predominantly black and brown people, so you got to be really drunk to even think about this, which it seems like he was. Yeah, this is the guy that says Londonistan, unironically. London, it's got halal kebab shops everywhere now. It's Londonistan. I fucking hate it. I'm an IDF soldier. I'm trying to do fucking hate crimes in it. People are eating the fucking kebabs and they're learning to fucking sympathize with these Muslims, right? These fucking muzzies, mate. Fucking blimey, fucking hell. We got donor in every fucking corner. Stop it. So fascinating seeing this level of racism and anti-Semitic card being pulled right away in the wild. I mean, dude, it's just, you can't really, here's the thing, okay? You can't really, you can't really fault the dude for thinking, of course, that he can get away with doing this shit when like every fucking form of institutional power is kind of allowing this shit to happen. You know what I mean? Like, why? Of course he thinks he could do this. Because, like, why wouldn't he?
To our country, go home. And they're trying to bring Sharon law. Listen, you. And even the bread. Go grab me a King's Meal. The King's Meal says it's allowed. Go back to Islam. Yeah, that's the King's bread. Go. The King's eating allowed bread. Islam. It's out of order, I tell you. A bad guy out of order. Ian, this is England, yeah? I don't want none of your Islam. I don't. Take it back to Ramadan. Yeah, go back to Ramadan. Yeah? What you? Oh, yeah, it's Ramadan. I love Ramadan. Well, go and live in Ramadan then, yeah? How about I build a mosque in Mecca? How about that? Yeah? How about that?
Build a mosque in Mecca. Nothing touches Islamic ray guns, though. It is wild that, like, things that were universally frowned upon, like the EDL guy talking about Islamic ray guns. You remember, that's like a classic. As a classic. This is like a open your eyes for your children's sake, English Defense League. Like these guys basically kind of got packed up only to come back in like a more nefarious way where the average person says this kind of shit, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck do we go from like a relatively like EDL's the English Defense League, they're just Nazis, right? And obviously led by Tommy Robinson for quite a while, right? These were actually fucking chinless Nazis, right? And they were fucking trying to defend England, right? So what ended up happening, right, was these guys got fucking packed up, yeah? Turns out, though, they never went anywhere. They just kind of fucking, they broadened their horizons, mate. They did. Many people think like this now. Many people think like this now. Many such fucking cases. It's just, it's weird to see, like, you know, something that is, you know, roundly condemned, universally condemned, that was hyper specific Islamophobic Nazi attitude being reiterated by people who you would otherwise consider to be like liberals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that guy. Something to consider. something to think about. A through line and a direct analogy, or a direct parallel rather, can also be seen in the Germany story that I didn't cover yesterday. As you guys know, just like the EDL, the German version of the EDL is the AfD, right? The AfD is a party that has become more active and become more popular, specifically in East Germany, unfortunately, as well. And a lot of these, a lot of this movement, which originally was, looked at with or shunned by liberals, center-right liberals, and center-left liberals, now, regular old rich liberal Germans are repeating and channeling the exact same sentiment. I'm of course referencing the Sylt party. Don't you think England's under attack, though? Yes, you're right. It's under attack by the top of the hour ad break. You're right. All the British are forced to see a 3-minute ad break at the top of the fucking hour. You did it. You did it. You fucking tried and you lost it, mate. You tried and you fucking failed. I hope you appreciate it. Nice try, Chepsa. But you fucking failed, mate. It's pronounced Sult. Right. We'll get to it in a second. Right, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those fucking ads, all you need to do is subscribe, yeah? Bloody hell. Subscribe for $5, £5, or for free with a Twitch Prime. You want to say you can't save Europe, but you can save the top of the hour for yourself. Is the 3-minute ad break now. Anyway, so here it is. A viral video in Germany shows people singing racist lyrics and performing Nazi salutes at a club in the northern island of Sylt. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has been called to comment while police investigate. Now, this is very illegal to do in Germany, for the record. I mean, this guy's literally doing the Hitler. Like, that is this is the literal Hitler. Like, he's Sig Heiling while pointing to his fucking mustache. Like, that is the Hitler. This dance move is called doing the Hitler. These guests are at an exclusive club on the German island of Sylt. Each person is reported to have paid €150 for a ticket. When right-wing slogans or even the criminal acts such as the Hitler salute becomes a pop culture, there's a lot wrong in the country, says Johannes Wagner, the German MP for the Greens. With a Hitler mustache and champagne, and I thought it was such a phenomenon of the right-wing fringe. Apparently it's back in the fashion in the upper classes. It's disgusting. The club has distanced itself from the incident and is taking legal action. Local police have confirmed that an investigation has been launched, and the video has caused alarm throughout the governing coalition, with even the Chancellor expressing his concern here.
Solche Parolen sind eklig. Sie sind nicht akzeptabel.
Maybe some background. Sylt is basically like the Monaco of Germany, a place where all the rich people go for vacation and party. Yeah. Now, a lot of these people, like, the reason why this is big news in Germany is because this has been bubbling up for quite some time. And yes, like working class Germans with reactionary perspectives that are like AfD voters now, they've been saying shit like this. And everyone in Germany has kind of like looked down at that sentiment. But now that you got the rich people in Germany saying it, the rich liberals who are not AfD voters usually, making light of the situation and making these sorts of jokes, now it's a big problem. Now they're starting to recognize that, like, hold on, maybe this anti-immigrant sentiment, anti-refugee Islamophobic sentiment is actually is actually kind of running through parts of German society that previously would look down at such behavior.
Und darüber darf es kein Vertun geben. Und deshalb ist es auch richtig, dass all unsere Aktivitäten darauf gerichtet sind, genau zu verhindern, dass das eine Sache ist, die sich verbreitet.
Has gained notoriety in the German far-right scene. Gary, no, thank you for the 10 tier 1 gifted subs. One of the people who was there at the student was a student at my friend's university. They kicked her out, Lamau. Yeah. Germany thinks they fight anti-Semitism while growing both their Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Our discourse shift here is the same as U.S. Extreme, nonsensical, and populistic. Yep. One of the dudes in the suit video is a member of the CDU, CSU. Aw. Shocking. Shocking seeing the center-right party become openly pro-Nazi. I would have never guessed that liberals have this sort of tendency. That certainly has never happened in Germany before. Please look at my message to the Chancellor. The Social Democrats, SPD, literally posted afterwards a Nazi slogan, Germany for Germans, but with a twist for those who defend our democracy and who stand for peace and cohesion. I remember a few years back, you told the European chatters to keep an eye out on how their countries will slowly become like the USA in regards to their shift right in politics. Yes, except those European chatters are probably no longer with us, because they also shifted right, especially after the incredibly militant attitude that people had once Russia unjustifiably invaded Ukraine. I suspect that many of those centrist, center-right, or maybe liberal German chatters, or maybe liberal European chatters, became so invested in the NATO conversation that they could not recognize that their perspective was slowly but surely shifting. This, of course, is not new. Sweden has been doing this for quite a while. Many other European nations have been shifting rightward for quite a while. And unfortunately, plenty of those European EU chatters probably left and now unironically talk about how, like, my kind of politics is genuinely way scarier than, like, the Nazi sentiment expressed by whatever version of, like, far right radicalism that occurs on in their own countries.
Spy chief has told the BBC that the far-right Alternative for Deutschland party poses a risk to the roots of democracy. The AfD regularly rejects accusations of extremism, but the BBC has found clear links between significant party figures and extremists or even former neo-Nazi networks by investigating just one event held in the East German city of Cottbus. Our Berlin correspondent Jessica Parker has this report.
In Germany's east, the far-right Alternative for Deutschland is popular, even aiming for power. And Jean-Pascal Homme is a regional parliamentary candidate.
The AfD is proactive on social media, but also on the ground, and it feeds this idea they want to promote, that they are of the people and taking on the establishment.
But, as the BBC has found, Jean-Pascal Homme's held links with several groups now classed by domestic intelligence as extremist, networks accused of anti-migrant, anti-Muslim ideology.
Alle genannten Organisationen All these organizations focus on one subject, the theme of our times. It is the population replacement going on in Germany and in Europe. To voice that and to fight that politically is not extremist.
You don't think the Great Replacement theory is extremist? I mean, it's a far-right conspiracy theory.
Nein, der große Austausch findet statt, das sehe ich in meiner
No, the Great Replacement is happening. I can see that in my own city. I do not say it is organized from up high, I say it's happening.
It was at this office back in March that Jean-Pascal Homme helped organise an event. The speaker was an MP called Matthias Helfferich, who once described himself as the friendly face of National Socialism, also known as Nazism.
Matthias Helfferich insists the years-old leaked messages were satire. His talk here in Cottbus was on remigration, a code word, say many, for mass deportations.
Remigration ist die politische Vision einer vertrauten Heimat.
In this video, he talks about remigrating millions to preserve the land of the Germans.
Und aktivistischem Vorfeld.
In the audience in Cottbus that night was Benedikt Kaiser, another influential figure. He works for an AfD MP. But over a decade ago, Mr. Kaiser was pictured at neo-Nazi demos. We've approached him for comment.
Became more and more right-wing extremists.
This spy chief claims that extremism within the AfD poses a risk to democracy.
When I'm speaking about a German oak, a big, strong, old tree, it can take a blizzard, it can take a storm. But once you have an enemy that goes for the roots, and that's exactly what's happening right now, going for the roots of our democracy, it's very dangerous because it goes to the vital parts of our democracy.
What is it about the 20s and 30s and centuries that fascism just loves to go full mask off? I mean, it's a cycle, right? It takes 100 years for this level of resentment to build up once again.
The AfD says it's being smeared by a biased establishment, and as the country builds towards regional and EU elections, this isn't a fringe movement, but one trying to go mainstream. Jessica Parker, BBC News in Brandenburg.
Let's speak to Assistant Professor of Political Science at Boise State University.
Where are Roaring 20s? Bro, what do you think the Roaring 20s meant for the average working class person? Fuck. It's look around, dude. The Roaring 20s, in the way that it's like mentioned in The Great Gatsby and the like, was roaring for the fucking elites. As it is currently, just wasn't exactly great for the average person.
University, Julia Van Dusky. Julia, welcome to you. You've written about the rise of the AfD in Germany, haven't you? How?
Yeah, mega yacht sales are looking better than ever. You know what I mean? Shit's popping. Entire industries specifically dedicated to serving the wealthiest individuals in society. Meanwhile, the average person can't fucking purchase a house. Has no meaningful way of creating permanent shelter for themselves.
Far-reaching are its links with the far right, would you say?
So the German government has been investigating the AfD for quite a while because it is known that many of its members do have links to the far right. So it is far-reaching.
Now the far right...
Yeah, we're literally doing space tourism and shit. Like, think about that. Likely through populism on TikTok, etc., young people are faster prone to become far-right. AfD's in second place for young people. No, I don't think it's populism from TikTok. I think it's economic instability and volatility. I am never going to look at like one singular social media platform. No, these are far larger issues. There are far larger systematic problems that are creating the exact same results. It's austerity. It's austerity. It's the horrifying material conditions, a lack of future prospects for the younger generation that's breaking their minds. And because of neoliberalism's power, specifically neoliberalism's power, specifically gutting and eviscerating any kind of leftist opposition, there isn't even like a genuine communist counter, nor even a trade unionist one, nor even a socialist one, as it existed in at least the earlier stages in the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution, where there was one. Volodymyr Zelensky said, "Why is the upper class supporting this then?" Well, it's one should ask that same question about what the upper class was doing supporting it in the 20s, both in the United States of America and in Germany. Capital owners absolutely funded and facilitated fascism. Fascist plots were occurring both in America and also in Germany as well, as you know. And the reason for that was because fascism is seen as a way to instill order. It's a way to reinforce the exact same. It's a way to reinforce the hierarchies by very violent means in general. Capitalism decays inevitably due to the weight of its own contradictions. And then when in that decay, there's a lot of volatility, a lot of instability. Then there's also even the pesky alternatives to said instability, people that want to evolve from capitalism to something that is a little bit more just. And capital owners obviously benefit from the existing hierarchies. So what do? Well, they side with the fascists. They fund the fascists, because what do fascists do? They're not real socialists. They're not genuinely interested in class struggle. They're interested in stopping class struggle. Yes, yesterday a video went viral with upper class kids chanting xenophobic slurs. I know, that's how we started this conversation.
The AfD, rather, political party, is gaining in popularity, isn't it, in Germany? What would you put that down to?
So the AfD originally formed as a response to the Eurozone crisis. There are a lot of Germans who do not support the EU, and they don't support Germany's role in the EU. And so now there's a party that represents their interests. They're more popular in East Germany amongst older people who had been socialized under a completely different political system. They lived under communism and an authoritarian regime. So politically, they're a little bit different than West Germans, so it's not surprising that the AfD is a little bit more popular there.
And what do you think it means for the future democracy of Germany, or would that be alarmist to even go there?
What a phenomenally stupid liberal analysis of the situation. I wonder why East Germany would be more susceptible to right-wing populism like this. Oh, I'm sure it's because they grew up under communism. No, perhaps it has something to do with the fact that the material development of East Germany was stunted deliberately in comparison to West Germany. That was beefed up by both the Marshall Plan and American investment. That's it. The reasons as to why there is more reactionary sentiment in East Germany is because East Germany was left behind. This is also false. They're most popular among the population that grew up in the aftermath of the reunification, born around 85, 95.
There.
Currently, I don't think the AfD is going anywhere. However, I don't think they're big.
So capitalism brought wealth and communism brought poverty? Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Enough currently to ever form a government in Germany. They're still quite small. And the other parties, the mainstream parties, are unlikely to form a government with them. So in the short term, they can make a lot of noise. They have a platform in parliament, but I don't think they're going to have a lot of influence over policymaking.
Okay, Professor Julie Van Dusky, thank you very much for.
Only recently, Olaf Scholz was on the cover of Der Spiegel with the quote, "We must finally start to deport in a big fashion." I wonder how saying that shit became more mainstream. Yep. The West will do liberal shock therapy to former communist areas and then blame communism when that shock therapy plays its course. Yes. It's funny, the thing that apparently the girl we saw in the video shared a story where she wrote "Best DJ insult from Palestine," and instead of the Palestine flag, she posted the flag of Kuwait. She was literally like, "Look at my foreign friend. The guy was just a DJ." Yeah. You should react to Best D Mark's video on Weimar, Germany. I have. I'm pretty sure I have. In your opinion, do you think fascism will rise and prevail without resistance since there's no USSR anymore? Do you think, for example, China would be a nation willing to rescue the West? I don't know. I think China is very self-interested. You know? Hold on one second. I have to also look at something here. I guess the USSR was also self-interested, though, in many ways. Hold up. Waiting to get in. Y'all are live. Also join. I'm waiting for my team to get in on Rust. There's a Best D Part 2 called the Gehlen Organization that you didn't watch. Let's see. Leftist uprising took out many fascist regimes without outside help from the USSR. Let's see. How Nazism Survived Germany. We watched How Nazism Survived Germany. Organisation Gehlen. We didn't watch that part, but there was also another thing that I kind of wanted to see. The Betrayal of the German Revolution, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. This talks extensively in detail, I suspect, about the whole like liberals betraying KPD, siding with the fascists, and the rise of Nazi Germany. The Betrayal of the Revolution was what I was talking about. Is the Rust server public? No.
After World War I, Germany was on the brink of a successful proletarian revolution. For many people, this period is known merely as representing a change from the German monarchy to the Weimar Republic. In fact, most people are not even aware that there was a revolution at all. There are videos on the internet about this topic, but there is little deeper analysis of the political forces that were crucial in not only determining the future of Germany, but the future of Europe, and arguably the future of the whole world. Chris Harman says that without understanding this period, one can have but an incomplete understanding of the rise of Adolf Hitler and the massacre of World War II. It is in these years that the swastika entered the political stage as a symbol of reaction, anti-communism, and counter-revolution. It is quite reasonable to hypothesize that if the, at the time, world's second most powerful industrial nation had turned socialist, the rising workers' movement all over Europe could have had a powerful ally to bring about socialism in their own countries, adding to the massive revolutionary flame that had been ignited in Russia. Russia was a relatively backward country in terms of industrial development. The Bolshevik revolutionaries were hoping and even expecting the victory in Germany as a result of a chain reaction, which would benefit them as it wouldn't leave them isolated on the international stage. Their leader, Vladimir Lenin, declared only months after the successful October Revolution in 1917 that, quote, "Without the revolution in Germany, we are doomed." Since the communist movement fundamentally hinges on the unity of the international working class, it would have been of
what could have been, chatters,
massive benefit to have an industrially developed socialist ally to support the construction of socialism in Russia.
To be fair, we don't know. We don't know what Europe would look like. There could have been a battle line drawn where internal pressures might have escalated against FDR. Maybe the business plot succeeds in that circumstance. Maybe FDR never, maybe the New Deal never occurs. And America is the continuation led by the American Bund movement. Maybe America is the continuation of fascist autocracy, and they try to fight and plunder the rest of the world, and the United States becomes the Germany of World War II. So there's also that aspect of it as well. America turned fascist? No, I mean, America was aligned against the fascists in World War II. But as I say all the time, as I like reiterating all the time, things could have been very different for America.
And likewise, it was the Great October Revolution that massively accelerated and supported the establishment of councils all over Hungary, Austria, or Germany. Quote, "We shall achieve victory only together with all the workers of other countries of the whole world," Lenin stated later in April 1918. Defeated revolutions are quickly forgotten, yet from the perspective of the working class, this revolution should not be brushed aside. There is not only lots of lessons to be drawn from this period, but it is immensely inspiring to have history reaffirm that workers' power in Europe is possible, despite the sheer strength of the capitalist class.
There are way more Germans who hate Nazis than Nazis. Please acknowledge that. Brother, I'm talking about, and this video is detailing something that you are, I think, unable to understand, perhaps as a German person yourself. We're talking about German liberalism and how it made way for the Nazi movement, how it actually developed momentum for the Nazi movement. This entire video is directly about all of those people who ostensibly now hate the Nazis, because the exact same attitude is growing. The exact same sentiment is growing in Germany at this moment. We're looking at history in order not to repeat its mistakes, but you are, it seems, unable to understand that and are literally saying, no, we will repeat those mistakes actually, and you will shut the fuck up about it, as we are in the process of repeating said mistakes in Germany.
It is this explosive potential of revolutionary inspiration that is among the reasons the history of the German Revolution is twisted or straight up denied. Quote, "A German revolution after World War I? A West German undergraduate in my German history survey indicated she had never heard of such a thing, and until the 1960s the same was probably true of most Western academics," said Robert Wheeler in the late 70s. Winston Churchill derided it by claiming it was part of a Jewish conspiracy. Of course, other liberal commentators state that it was in this period that democracy won against dictatorship. Another reason this revolution is not mentioned very often is that it is a period of great shame for the supposedly progressive liberal forces, since it showed how they had zero concerns about collaborating with the most reactionary and bloodthirsty elements of society in crushing the movements that endanger the capitalist system. In Germany, the party mainly responsible for that cooperation, the SPD, has been one of the main ruling forces in the German government ever since, now claiming the chancellor position with Olaf Scholz since 2021. The story of the German Revolution is the story of how that party evolved from the, at the time, most developed Marxist organization to an open representative of capitalism, a supporter of imperialist war and a defender of class society. It is thus key in understanding today's left and the nominally left social democratic parties, since what had become concrete during this revolution isn't just important for grasping the politics of Germany, but in understanding the revising of Marxist principles and their subordination to the bourgeoisie as an international trend. This video will encompass the build-up to the revolution, without which it is impossible to grasp the underlying political forces that led to it, and that ultimately betrayed it. In fact, the betrayal had begun long before the start of the revolution. It's the story of the definite split between social democracy and communism, which would forever shape the socialist movement. In the next part that I'll release within the next few days, We'll talk about the events of the German Revolution and how that split manifested. The content of this part is especially topical, since it enlightens the struggles within the so-called left about the correct Marxist position during imperialist aggression, considering the current war in Ukraine and the danger of escalation into a new world war. Everyone interested in ending capitalism, in Marxism or socialism must learn about this period. This video will be mainly based on these works. They have all their particular biases I don't agree with, so I have tried to synthesize all of those different perspectives while adding a bit of my own analysis. The German state is a fairly recent formation. For multiple centuries, Germany referred to a group of various German-speaking states in Central Europe. They were often very divided and subject to the influence of far greater empires. Most people in these states didn't identify as Germans, but as Prussians, Bavarians, or Saxons. Unlike in France or in other European states, Germany had not managed to overthrow the monarchy. In 1848, inspired by the revolutions in France and elsewhere, the masses in the German states attempted to do the same. One of their goals was to achieve unity. By the end of 1849, however, the revolts were crushed. The German bourgeoisie failed to unite the various German states, not just because it was weaker than France's, but under the threat of a strong proletarian movement, it preferred to ally itself with the monarchic forces. It's not the last time we would see this alliance against the working class in Germany. The structures of the monarchy persevered, but they adapted themselves to serve the needs of the quickly growing business class. Eventually, in 1871, unity was...
This is like the first iteration of the welfare state and the development of the welfare state in an effort to continue, I guess, under a monarchy, under a monarchical structure. There were like social benefits that basically gave life a extension to the continuation of the same exact structures that abuse the working class in an effort to retain the wealth in the hands of the few.
Was achieved at the end of the Franco-Prussian War, which had also sparked the creation of the Paris Commune, the first workers' state. Bourgeois historians often praised the prowess of Otto von Bismarck for achieving unity and for being the founder of the modern welfare state. But the unification into the German state manifested as a result of various complex developments. Unity served the needs of the rising bourgeoisie, and especially of the ruling classes in Prussia, who now dominated the newly formed federation.
This is why one analysis, I mean, I wouldn't even say one analysis, but like a direct analysis of like welfare capitalism is from a Marxist perspective is that welfare capitalism is a nefarious way in which you marginally improve working class conditions in an effort to not starve them to a degree that they rise up and destroy the capitalist mode of production. And there is truth to that matter. I mean, it's without welfare reforms, the idea is that capitalism is crushed under the weight of its own contradictions.
Prussia containing more than half of the population and most of natural resources. And the establishment of a welfare state wasn't simply out of a concern for the working class. Prussia's king was now also the German emperor, which was Wilhelm I of Prussia, from the imperial house of Hohenzollern. The other states had their own kings or grand dukes. Each state had their own version of governance, with Württemberg even adopting universal suffrage. The imperial government was responsible for policy regarding the whole country, such as the navy, commerce, and foreign relations. The emperor delegated those matters to the imperial chancellor, which was Otto von Bismarck. The chancellor title is still in use in Germany for the head of government today. This unified German state now quickly transformed itself into the second greatest industrial power in the world, even overtaking Great Britain, and thus creating a large working class within a short period of time. Concessions were made to the petty bourgeoisie and some minor ones to the working class, both as a byproduct and political convenience of the rising German capitalism. But the state continued to be ruled by the Prussian landowning aristocracy, the so-called Junkers, of which Otto von Bismarck was the most prominent. These ruling classes weren't subject to the Reichstag, the empire's parliament, chosen by male suffrage and with little to no actual power, and which ultimately answered to the emperor. Most of the liberal middle classes had been won over by the monarchist National Liberal Party. Bismarck had used the interests of the bourgeoisie to advance German industry and the interests of the upper middle classes to consolidate the new bourgeois hierarchy. Those concessions were not irrelevant. Within the first 10 years, life expectancy rose by over 10 years, and 12-hour working days became 10-hour days. Otto von
You can also look at like somewhat you can find similarities within another I mean, I'm not talking about Bismarck here, but like obviously fascists in America, capital owning fascists in America like Henry Ford also recognized the many benefits and the improvements in productivity that he would see out of his workers when he streamlined some of these processes in his own factories as well. So the irony, of course, is that like the consistent rent seeking and consistent profit maxing attitude that our capital owners have now actually leads to less productive results down the line. So even now, if we were to have more benefits in the direction of a true social democracy in the United States of America, we could actually legitimately improve productivity, but it's not even a thing that people consider nowadays because of short-term thinking.
Bismarck established the first welfare state in modern industrial society. The main goal was to gain working class support by directing it away from the rapidly growing socialist opposition. Social democracy today refers to something entirely different than what it used to in the 19th century. People of the revolutionary left used to call themselves social democrats, such as Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht of Germany, or Vladimir Lenin. The Bolsheviks were part of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party, which was firmly based on the theories of Marx and Engels. The biggest social democratic party at the time was the Social Democratic Party of Germany, or the SPD. Lenin, up until the beginning of the 20th century, praised the SPD as the most advanced social democratic organization, saying that German social democracy, quote, had always upheld the revolutionary standpoint in Marxism. The change in the meaning of social democracy roughly went like this. First, it meant Marxism. Then, it meant socialism, but through
Desperate for pussy voice. Desperate for pussy voice, Lenin. Social democracy in Germany is really cool. I love Rosa.
Reform, not revolution. And today it means capitalism with stronger social safety nets, or the so-called Nordic model, what they have in Sweden, for instance. In order to understand how this shift in definition happened, it is essential to learn about the history of the SPD and the German Revolution. In the period before the German unification, German social democracy was split into two currents. There were the Lassallians, who followed the teachings of the more reformist Ferdinand Lassalle, and the so-called Eisenachers, who claimed to uphold the teachings of Marx and Engels. The two most prominent Eisenachers were August Bebel and Wilhelm Liebknecht. They were the leaders of the Social Democratic Workers' Party of Germany, the SDAP, founded in 1869 in the German town Eisenach, hence the label Eisenachers. The two groups were very divided. When Bebel and Liebknecht refused to vote for war credits for the war against France in 1870, the Lassallians suggested they should be jailed for their opposition to the war. However, a few years later, after the unification had happened, members of the two groups urged the unification of German social democracy. In 1875, in the German city Gotha, the two factions managed to come together by adopting the Gotha program, the party platform of the SPD. At the time, Marx and Engels were heavy influences on the party leadership. They had become the most influential intellectual leaders of the socialist movement. Wilhelm Liebknecht, for instance, had developed a strong friendship with Marx and collaborated with him throughout his life. Marx and Engels weren't big fans of the Gotha program, however. Marx wrote the Critique of the Gotha program and sent it to the leadership of the SDAP. The program was criticized for its concessions to the Lassallian current, such as reformist deviations from revolutionary Marxist theory or the faulty analysis of German society, among other things. The document is now part of the Marxist classics. It discusses the importance of proletarian internationalism or the dictatorship of the proletariat. There are still many attempts to separate those two concepts from Marxist theory today. Although not entirely united in ideology and overall tactics, the party grew very quickly. A mere 2 years later, the party boasted close to 500,000 votes, which was over 9% of the total. The SPD became involved in nearly all aspects of society. It established countless trade unions, cooperatives, youth and women's organizations, or newspapers. The SPD was by far the biggest working class organization worldwide. Lenin said about the German working class that for almost half a century, it was, quote, the model of socialist organization for the whole world. German social democracy became a way of life, being involved not just during labor struggles and elections, but in people's leisure time. They established and became affiliated with chess clubs, a swimming association, the Free Sailing Union, cyclist magazines, music.
See, it fell apart because of their, this is a bourgeois moral failing right here. It's called fun time, and fun time should not be allowed. Their fun time should have been reading, like these guys are doing, but like reading more communist literature theory. Sailing, it seems like a bourgeois interest to me. Being a communist and being a socialist implies that you cannot have fun, okay? Fun is not allowed. Fun time is bourgeois decadence. You must always be angry. You must always be seeking to improve the material conditions of the working class, uplift the working class. If you are having fun, that means you are not fighting the revolutionary fight. You are actually a counter-revolutionary.
And singing groups, libraries, and even a free people's theater to spread class consciousness and critiquing the status quo through drama. Lenin wrote enthusiastically about these organizations. These leisure time organizations were important for another reason. In 1878, Otto von Bismarck managed to institute laws restricting the rapid development of the workers' movement. Hence, more indirect and clandestine forms of organization and propaganda became important. Within the first year of enacting the so-called anti-socialist laws, the Imperial German government outlawed about 250 associations, as well as close to 200 periodicals and over 300 non-periodical newspapers or magazines. This crackdown did not significantly slow down the socialist movement, however. Through a kind of Barbara Streisand effect, it even led to an increased membership long-term and raised class consciousness by making it apparent that the state viewed the socialist movement as a threat. So, many party activists reacted to state persecution by embracing Marxist revolutionary principles. In the 1880s, the party had reaffirmed that it was revolutionary.
It is a legit tactic to use treats to distract people, though, but I get what you mean. Dude, treats are great. That's the whole reason for why you want some kind of change to the current existing organization of the economy so you can have fucking treats and free time. That's the whole point. That is literally why I care about these sorts of things, because I want everyone to have the amenities and the fun and the free time. And so did Marx, really. This is why the idea that like socialism is actually a deeply collectivist ideology that has no basis in like individual freedoms is a inherently reactionary bastardization of why people want socialism to happen. The entire point is so that people can have fun, people can have treats, people can have luxuries, people can have whatever they wish to have,
with no illusions in parliamentary methods. However, although repression failed to destroy social democracy, it did lead a great part of the party toward a more moderate direction and opportunism. Since the laws didn't outlaw participating in the electoral theater while hurting the most radical and visible activists. August Bebel wrote in a letter to Liebknecht that a position in the Reichstag, quote, satisfies their ambition and their vanity. With great self-complacency, they look upon themselves as among the chosen of the nation and find immense pleasure in the parliamentary comedy. They take it very seriously. This had a great effect on the party membership. Revolutionary theory was only marginally connected with most of what the party actually did. Another factor adding to the complacency of many social democrats was the success and the...
Yeah, but prioritizing fun is unhelpful. That's how liberalism happens. You have to be joking. You cannot be serious right now. I don't believe that you're being serious. I'm going to assume that you're joking.
Relative stability of emerging German capitalism and minor concessions to the working class. Although behind many of these achievements was the working class struggle, not parliamentary activity.
Guys, stop saying Rust, all this stuff, okay? I'm gonna get into Rust when my team is ready, okay? None of them are ready right now. What do you want me to do? Do it on my own? No, I'm waiting for my fucking team.
What was crucial was...
I'm gonna eat, we're gonna watch this, and then I'm gonna play Rust.
That capitalism had entered a new stage at the turn of the century, its highest and last stage according to Lenin, imperialism. In addition to the profits appropriated in their own countries, the monopoly capitalists now increasingly appropriated so-called super profits from the colonies and semi-colonies. Capitalists in the imperialist countries could now use those extra profits to, quote, bribe, unquote, the working classes in their own states, leading to higher wages for a section of the working class, which came to be called the labor aristocracy. For instance, well-paid managers, bankers, or engineers. Though still part of the working class, many of these people see themselves as superior in social status, weakening class solidarity. It is this social stratum, Lenin says, that became the basis of various social democratic parties in Europe. He wrote, quote, this stratum of workers turned bourgeois, or the labor aristocracy, who are quite Philistine in their mode of life, in the size of their earnings and in their entire outlook, is the principal prop of the Second International, and in our days, the principal social prop of the bourgeoisie. For they are the real agents of the bourgeoisie and the working class movement, the labor lieutenants of the capitalist class, real vehicles of reformism and chauvinism. In the civil war between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, they inevitably, and in no small numbers, take the side of the bourgeoisie. This was also reflected in the composition of party leadership that became increasingly dominated by so-called high-skilled professionals or small business owners. This and the relative peace in Europe nourished complacency.
Would you characterize the HVAC business owners as labor aristocracy? No. HVAC business owners would be firmly petty bourgeoisie. Small business owners are in the petty bourgeoisie camp. They are capital owners. Their earnings are obviously marginal in comparison to big business, but ultimately they themselves still hire labor. They are a part. Sometimes they literally work as well. In many instances, they work as well, but they are petite, tiny, small business owners. But their revenue growth and their wealth relies on still relies on hiring other workers. So ultimately, they are still very much aligned in class interests with larger business owners. Labor aristocrats, on the other hand, would be the professional managerial class, doctors, engineers, lawyers, and the like.
And the belief that maybe incrementalism was the way forward. However, we need to keep in mind that higher wages under capitalism does not mean lower exploitation. Shorter working hours usually go along with higher intensity of work under capitalism. The progress in productivity meant that wages could be improved in absolute terms, but in relative terms, exploitation increased. This means that while wages increased a little bit, they didn't keep up with the increased productivity which overwhelmingly benefited the income of capitalists. As one economic historian explains, the, quote, relative income of the workers in 1914 was only about 1/3 of what it was in 1860. The rich had become enormously richer and the national wealth of Germany had grown, but the workers' share in this wealth had declined rapidly. The relative deterioration of the workers had proceeded at a speed probably unsurpassed in any country in Europe. But it takes political consciousness to understand this. The great majority could obviously be fooled by the dominant narrative, just like today. Many radicals who came back to Germany from their fleeing from the anti-socialist laws had lost their revolutionary fervor. And one of them,
your average defense attorney that does like family law or criminal law for people do not make that much. Just throwing that out there. Okay. One thing to remember is that like Engels is directly a factory owner. Okay. It doesn't change the dynamic in his advocacy in any meaningful capacity. You can literally be in certain instances a capital owner and still be very foundationally important in expressing revolutionary sentiment. Just like the labor aristocracy does not necessarily mean that you are going to, if you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, doesn't mean that you are going to ultimately align with the interests of the capital owning class. Okay? It doesn't work that way at all. A lot of people immediately think like, well, what the fuck? This is call out. It's not as black and white.
Was Eduard Bernstein.
Castro was the owner of a sugar farm? Yes. Fidel Castro unironically used the military, just like everywhere else, to seize whatever the land allotment was that went beyond what the government at the time decided. I forget what the exact number is. It was like a certain number of acreage. Once you went beyond it, that meant that it would be expropriated. Castro himself literally sent his own the military to his own family's sugar farm. He expropriated land from his own family.
In 1891, the SPD adopted the Erfurt program in the German city Erfurt. It was formulated by August Bebel and two gentlemen named Karl Kautsky and the aforementioned Eduard Bernstein. Engels,
400
who,
hectares.
after Marx's death in 1883, was now the chief authority on Marxism, criticized this program for its non-Marxist, opportunist view on the state. He wrote, quote, "The political demands of the draft have one great fault. It lacks precisely what should have been said. What was missing was the necessity of the dictatorship of the proletariat and a few other Marxist components." In order to understand Engels' criticism and the development of social democracy in general, it is important to learn about Eduard Bernstein. He was born in 1850 and had been in close connection to Marx and Engels. He became a central figure in the SPD, but he gained prominence by becoming known as the first major revisionist. Revisionism, simply put, means revising Marxist principles. It usually means to update them toward a liberal direction, for instance, making concessions to the capitalist class or collaborating with it, turning it from something revolutionary to something less combative. The relative stability of capitalism led Bernstein to believe that maybe the contradictions of capitalism wouldn't sharpen as Marx had analyzed. He also questioned the philosophical underpinnings of Marxism, dialectical materialism. He posed that socialism was not the dialectical solution of these contradictions, but it is a result of the free choice of people, that is, independent from their economic and social situation. It is more of a moral option instead of a social necessity, so to speak. His conclusion was that rather than aiming for revolution, the working class should be focused on reforms. It should sink itself into the bourgeoisie and incrementally change the system from within. His approach is most prominently reflected in his quote, "The ultimate aim of socialism is nothing, but the movement is everything." He was heavily criticized, most prominently by Rosa Luxemburg, the leading figure of the left line, who wrote the pamphlet Reform or Revolution. In it she says that the dilemma between reform and revolution is meaningless, because reforms should be in the service of revolution. Her arguments were convincing. By 1903, the debate appeared settled in the Dresden Congress.
I 100% agree with Rosa Luxemburg. All matter of reform should be in the revolutionary direction. That ultimately reforms are not an end, but a means to a more just end.
In which the majority of the party formally rejected Bernstein's revisionism. Another prominent SPD.
This still does not mean that you do not participate in an unjust system. I think people misunderstand a lot of this, where they personally, this is the difference between a lot of people who come in here and they're like, Hassan, when will you give up on bourgeois democracy, blah, 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 like electoralism? No, thank you. Or people that fucking cast aside the likes of Bernie Sanders, or people that fucking constantly shit on any and every left-wing Democrat, hyper-focusing on them instead of the broader picture, instead of those who are truly working actively to harm the working class. Okay? It's silly for me in particular. I don't personally understand it because for me, I look at the immediate material conditions. I look at where class awareness is in this country, in the United States of America. I recognize America's placement on the planet as a hegemonic superpower that that is working actively to continue unequal exchange from the global South, to continue destroying and continue fomenting reactionary sentiment everywhere and anywhere it can, having its tentacles in every fucking aspect of global development. The idea that you can just like magically accelerate and not succumb to a fascist movement is silly. As literal socio-dem talk, Lamau. Well, I don't have an issue with social democrats in America, especially as long as they are not leaning in the direction of liberalism. A foundational social democratic principle would be literally fucking offering some kind of universal health care for all members of American society unconditionally. We don't even have that in America, okay? The notion that you would just like immediately jump multiple steps and be like revolution now is idiotic. It doesn't work that way.
The member who criticized Bernstein was Karl Kautsky. He was born in 1854, and after the passing of Engels in 1895, now he was regarded as one of the, if not the most prestigious Marxist theoretician. He was called by many people the Pope of Marxism. Until the outbreak of World War I, Vladimir Lenin, despite many differences, regarded Kautsky as the final authority on Marxism. But for Kautsky, revolution became something that had shifted to an indefinite future. Kautsky was part of the party center, which meant that he was against Bernstein's revisionism, but also against the tactics of the left, such as when Luxemburg argued to push for mass strikes against the state after the strike wave of the early 20th century. It was the Pope of Marxism who criticized her. And it was this party center, being in seemingly equal distance from the right revisionism and the revolutionary left, that played a key role in conceding more and more to the right under the guise of not in.
Lenin literally acknowledged her analysis on reform in liberal democracies in Europe. People don't get this. People just act as if she means electoralism is the end-all be-all. It's not. She emphasizes the revolutionary Marxist party should be participants in bourgeois electoral process to instill revolutionary principles.
Endangering party unity. However, for those not fully aware of inner party struggles, German social democracy still seemed to be committed to socialist revolution. In the meantime, the day-to-day practice of the SPD was fully committed to non-revolutionary activities. The defeat in the general elections of 1907 convinced the leaders that it was the extreme left and their revolutionary phraseology that was responsible for their loss in support, a charge reminiscent of today's liberal parties. One of the core issues of that campaign was the German colonization of Southwest Africa. A large part of the party leadership came quite close to the politics of the growing pro-monarchist parties, with some even using Marxist terminology to justify national defense and even colonialism. Also reminds us of many supposed Marxists today. The right line came to increasingly dominate the social democratic organizations, especially when it came to responsibilities in fields such as finance, the newspapers, trade union leadership, and the running of election campaigns. This was reflected in the composition of party membership, which came to be increasingly dominated by proprietors of small businesses. In 1907, less than 15% of the membership was composed of those who fell under the label workers. In 1911, about 50% of the members were represented by only 27% of delegates. There was an increasing discrepancy between the leaders and the led, with the petty bourgeois section disproportionately being part of the leadership. This rightward shift culminated when Friedrich Ebert, leader of this right line, became party secretary in 1906 at the age of 36, and after the passing of August Bebel, became the chairman of the party in 1913. Ebert was known as an efficient organizer, intensely practical and cold. He would soon prove to be the chief ally of the bourgeoisie. History mainly remembers two names of the communist movement in this time in Germany. Those are Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht, courageous fighters for the working class who were to be murdered in the same January night in 1919. But in truth, those two merely represented a whole revolutionary current rapidly growing in Germany, little by little separating itself from the SPD. Born into the party in 1871 as the son of Wilhelm Liebknecht, one of the party's founders, Karl Liebknecht was to become known to many as the personification of German Bolshevism. The lawyer was imprisoned for 18 months under the charge of high treason in 1907 after publishing his popular pamphlet Militarism and Anti-Militarism, which made him the boogeyman of the German nationalists and a hero of the socialist struggle. The SPD leadership looked at
Yes, I'm gonna do Rust today. I'm gonna do Rust today. I'm gonna do Rust today. It's literally pinned. It is also in my fucking title. What is wrong with everyone? Please. This is why I tell you all the time, like, just simply putting this stuff everywhere, plastering it everywhere, it doesn't change the reality that people still unironically would just come in here and be like, when are you going to do, are you going to do Rust today? I don't really understand. When are you going to play Rust? Okay.
Liebknecht with condescension. They saw him as a loud child who cannot be controlled. People described Liebknecht as passionate, impulsive, and courageous. Known as a great speaker and agitator, rather than a distinguished theoretician or organizer, he was soon to meet a situation big enough to match his powers. Clara Zetkin was another leading figure. A close friend of Rosa Luxemburg, she led the Socialist Women's Organization and was the editor of its paper, Die Gleichheit, Equality. Franz Mehring was another prominent figure. He had been more moderate, but eventually broke from Kautsky in 1910 and drew closer to Luxemburg. He was one of the older left-wingers and was known for his clear-headed analyses. Mehring, Zetkin, Liebknecht, Luxemburg, and others would later form the Spartacus League, named after the famous leader of the slave revolt in the Roman Republic. The Spartacus League was not the only formation of the left. left. Another group, mainly based in the city of Bremen, was referred to as the left radicals and would later form the International Communists of Germany, or short the IKD. Among this group of people were Johann Knief, the leading figure, worker-turned-journalist Paul Fröhlich, and an intellectual from Hamburg called Laufenberg. They were critical of the Spartakists for not fully breaking with the Social Democrats and forming a fully independent organization of revolutionaries. The International Communists of Germany and the Spartacus League would later merge into the Communist Party of Germany. Another group of people who were to play a great role in the German Revolution were the revolutionary shop stewards. Although not organized wholly as an autonomous group, it referred to a group of militant organizers from the powerful Berlin Metal Workers Union, which were soon to lead powerful strikes in Germany. Their leader, Richard Müller, said that their goal was to establish in Germany a council republic in the Russian style. However, none of these men caused so much respect and sometimes outright fear as a woman from Polish origin. Rosa Luxemburg was born in Poland, which was under the Russian Empire, and became a German citizen in 1897. Like Lenin and other socialists, she emigrated to Switzerland in 1888, as Switzerland was a popular refuge for socialist activists at the time. There she met Leo Jogiches, who was to become one of her closest allies as a close partner in the Spartacus League. Together they founded the Social Democracy of the Kingdom of Poland and Lithuania, and played a great part in Poland during the Russian Revolution of 1905, which got them several months in prison. However, she's mostly known for the role she played in German social democracy. In 1910, the most famous social democratic papers, Vorwärts and Die Neue Zeit, refused to publish her articles arguing for a mass strike. Franz Mehring and other left-wingers increasingly became subject of party censorship as well. Karl Kautsky, who was the founder and editor of Die Neue Zeit, was chiefly responsible for this. Already in 1895, Engels was angry at Kautsky and Bernstein for editing his introduction to an edition of The Class Struggles in France, written by Marx in 1850. They had edited it in a way that made it seem like he was a proponent of a peaceful path to socialism. From 1910, Mehring, Luxemburg, and Anton Pannekoek, an influential Dutch Marxist in Germany, finally broke with Kautsky completely. At the time, repudiating Kautsky was not an easy thing to do. Even Lenin, who would later drag Kautsky in his writings as a renegade and opportunist, didn't think it was a good idea at the time, calling Luxemburg's accusations against Kautsky an exaggeration. Amidst heatening imperialist pressures, Luxemburg was again prosecuted in 1913 after making an anti-militarist statement in a speech. She was known as an effective polemicist, orator, and a teacher. Lenin later called her an eagle. Although a great critic of the revisionist line, she still clung to being part of the social democratic organizations. Many Marxists would criticize her for not putting enough emphasis on independent leadership, clinging on being part of a mass party, even if that party leadership has an incorrect political line. Rosa Luxemburg was a great organizer and revolutionary. However, there was, according to Pierre Brouet, a great price to pay for her refusal and failure to organize into a cohesive, independent left force before the outbreak of World War I in 1914, the first global war, and a war which would change the socialist movement forever. More often than not, the story of World War I begins with the murder of Archduke Ferdinand, the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, by Serbian teenager Gavrilo Princip, after which Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia and then suddenly drags all the superpowers into a global war. Of course, the real causes behind the war go much deeper. Among the most important ones was the increasing success of German capitalism, which caused trouble for its rivals. While weaker in terms of industry, Britain and France had vast empires which came into conflict with Germany's expansionist interests. They sought to protect their territories by allying with Tsarist Russia against Germany, who was allies with the decaying Turkish Empire and Austria-Hungary. These competing blocs caused increasing friction in Southeast Europe, Africa, or the Middle East.
Let's not get into that too much, you know what I mean? Let's not, I mean, that's neither here nor there, you know what I mean? It's just, it happens, you know, it happens.
Matter of time before these tensions would explode into a worldwide war. For Lenin, the First World War and its politics cannot be understood without grasping the underlying economic essence of imperialism. In one of the prefaces of Lenin's seminal Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, Lenin writes, quote, "The war of 1914-18 was imperialist, that is, an annexationist, predatory war of plunder on the part of both sides. It was a war for the division of the world, for the partition and repatriation of colonies and spheres of influence of finance, capital, etc. Proof of what was the true social, or rather the true class character of the war, is naturally to be found not in the diplomatic history of the war, but in an analysis of the objective position of the ruling classes in all the belligerent countries. And this summary proves that imperialist wars are absolutely inevitable under such an economic system, as long as private property and the means of production exists. The tens of millions of dead and maimed left by the war, a war to decide whether the British or German group of financial plunderers is to receive the most booty. The seeming stability of capitalism, so much praised and emphasized by the revisionists, turned into bloody class conflict and the most deadly war humanity had seen within days. The general mood in Germany at the outbreak of the war is typically portrayed with joy, enthusiasm, and lust for adventure. Women sprawling flowers over the marching soldiers. While partly true, more recent research has further revealed that this picture is a myth and does not quite represent the whole sentiment of the early days. In Berlin alone, there were 50,000 pro-war demonstrators against 100 to 200,000 anti-war protesters, which are often not mentioned. In fact, even before the outbreak of the war, huge masses, even among the more conservative ones, went to the streets to protest against the looming war.
Why do you love glazing the Ottomans so much, Hassan? Aren't you meant to be anti-imperialist? Because I love the Ottoman Empire, because under the Ottoman Empire, no one would see a 3-minute ad break because everyone would be subscribed to the top of the hour.
Damn, this guy's good.